I love playing the game of disc golf. What I hate is waking up the next day, feeling that soreness in my muscles, in my body, my arms, my shoulders, my legs. And what I typically do is I wake up, I hammer down a few ibuprofen or Tylenol, and I go ahead and move on with my day. What I didn't realize was how bad that was for my body as well. Throwing a disc is very strenuous on your body, whether you realize it or not. What it does is it causes micro tears in muscles, which then become inflamed, and that's where any post-workout or post-round soreness comes from. That's why you need to check out our friends at WunderKind. WunderKind with a U, all natural CBD products. They're located right here in the United States, and they're always shipping for free. All of their products are 100% legal in all 50 states, lab tested to make sure that you're getting the highest quality CBD product to help you recover from your round out on the course. The CBD products all have an anti-inflammatory property, which is amazing for muscle recovery and pain reduction after a round. Guys, check out WunderKind. Again, that's WunderKind. You can follow them on Instagram at WunderKind Extracts, and you can visit their website at WunderKindExtracts.com and select from any of their amazing CBD products and use code RUNIT15 at checkout to save 15% off. Again, that's RUNIT15 at WunderKindExtracts.com. Tired of putting down those ibuprofen and those Tylenol, eating up your stomach and attacking your liver? Well, give an all-natural CBD product a shot and see how much better you feel after your round. Again, that's WunderKindExtracts.com, and we thank them for sponsoring this podcast.
Hey, this is Yuli, and you are listening to Running It with Nate Sexton.
Running It with Nate Sexton is brought to you in part by Innova Champion Discs, the choice of champions.
Hello, disc golf fans, and welcome back to another episode of Running It with Nate Sexton. I am your co-host, Jared Orr. He is the Innova team captain and our host, Mr. Nate Sexton. Nate, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well. Back at home for a couple days before heading back out there for the Resistance Discs Open this weekend. Also, just in the Portland area.
Nice. So you're getting to stay in Oregon, which is good for you. Is Coraline coming back this time?
No, my dad is actually arriving imminently, and if you hear a bunch of dog barking in the background of the show, then you'll know why, because my dad has arrived. Yeah, Coraline came with me to Portland Open. It was really fun having her, but also, had its own set of challenges, having her at the Jomez Airbnb and being kind of fully in dad mode, up at 6 a.m., doing dad stuff, and then straight over to luckily my friend John and his wife Erin were willing to watch her, and they have a daughter Madeline who she was playing with, so I'd drive across town, drop her off, go warm up, play my round, drive back across town, pick her up, and then it was, back on dad duty till she went to bed, but then I got to stay up, till roughly midnight to finish Joma's commentary, and then, back up at 6 a.m. So it was tough, but it was fun. And then the cash streak is still alive. I didn't play well, but I played well enough to cash. So moving on.
And that's all that we're worried about now, Nate. We're all familiar that in that Jomez Airbnb, you're there with Yuli and Germ. So let's be honest, you're always in dad mode at the Airbnb.
Well, when we're off camera, I can let them run pretty wild, but you got to rein them in a little bit sometimes when we're on camera, and that has varying levels of success depending on how much they want to fight on any given day.
Now, Nate, before we get started on this amazing episode that we have lined up for our listeners today, we got to take a second and pay some bills. And I'm talking about our friends over at FisherDiscGolf.com. FisherDiscGolf.com has been the trusted retail sponsor of Running It with Nate Sexton from day one. Guys, they've got a ton of amazing discs. In fact, over 18 different brands in stock. Tons of awesome apparel. You've heard me talk about their new website. Nate went on there, checked out. They keep adding more Innova discs each week. And guys, they've got those rare Ledgestone 2021 discs in stock. I know they've got some specials running on those. You want to save yourself some money on some limited run plastic, head over to fisherdiscgolf.com, check them out. And Nate, for listening to this show, our listeners can save a little bit of money, right?
Yeah, you can get 10% off your very first purchase by using our code RUNIT10, and shipping is always free at fisherdiscgolf.com.
Absolutely. We thank Fisher Disc Golf for their support. The best way to support the show is to support our sponsors. Now, before we get off to this interview, we talked about our friends over at fisherdiscgolf.com. You've heard me mention it before. You pick up your new disc, maybe a bag, some apparel. The next thing you need is a tasty snack for being out there, and Double G Craft Jerky, they're the snack that I'm talking about. This beef jerky is addicting, so I've got to give a little warning to our listeners out there. It's one of those things where you don't just order one bag. You end up going back for more. You continue ordering all of the different flavors. Garrett really knows what he's doing. Not only can the guy bomb a disc, but he knows how to make some beef jerky. And all you have to do is hop over to doublegcraftjerky.com. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Nate's word for it. Order a bag for yourself. Proceeds from each bag sold goes to Garrett's Children's Foundation. He's really doing some amazing things to help grow the sport, and it's to help out an amazing player that's out there on tour. So doublegcraftjerky.com. Check them out. Nate, I know you're a huge fan of it. Have you gone through your whole trade stash yet?
No, but Corlin and I did polish off a bag of the original flavor today, so that was on rotation today. I don't know what we're going to get into tomorrow. It's always an adventure, but definitely been eating it at an alarming pace. But I don't feel bad about it.
Nor should you. I actually feel bad even bringing it up. I don't want people to know that you have that much jerky because, people could start coming for the goods. So doublegcraftjerky.com, guys. Go ahead and check them out. Again, like I tell you, the best way to support the show is by supporting our sponsors. And Double G is just a heck of a guy. So doublegcraftjerky.com. Follow them on all social media, Double G Craft Jerky. In fact, I know that they're auctioning off some discs right now to go towards Double G's Children's Foundation. They've got a few special run Emperors with that Double G Craft Jerky stamp on there. So check out their website, check out their social media, and support our sponsors to help support the show. Once again, we have another amazing guest lined up. I'm really excited for this one. We've had some really cool history guests, some people from disc golf's past, but I think today we're going to be talking to someone that's going to be sticking around for disc golf's future. Who we running it with today, Nate?
Yeah, we've got one of the breakout stars, I'd say, of 2021. It's not like she only arrived this year, but we've got the 2021 DGPT All-Star Weekend champion. More importantly, the 2021 Waco Annual Charity Open champion and the owner of a shiny new career-high 941 rating as of today. We have Kona Panis. Hey, Kona.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it was really exciting, actually, waking up this morning and seeing that 941 rating. That's a new career high, and it's been something I've been working towards, since day one.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all the way you've been playing that your rating would be reaching some new milestones this year, but that's always a good feeling to be able to cross over another barrier. So what, 950 next, right?
Yes, definitely. I just saw that Juliana Korver, I believe, jumped up, hopefully I don't get this wrong, I believe 25 points today, and she's in the 950 club. I believe there's only 11 women in that club, so would love to join that this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's totally within the realm of possibility. That's pretty amazing with Juliana too. It's sweet that she's able to, that she's getting so back into it. I'm excited for what the future holds for her.
I know, it's honestly inspiring because I didn't really know of Juliana when I was getting into the scene. She wasn't touring. I think it was kind of past her time, and so to have her kind of just show up, be so into it, and still be able to play great golf. It's just, yeah, it's inspiring and gets me excited for hopefully my future in disc golf.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So where are you and Colton now? You guys heading to Utah already?
Yes, so we left Oregon yesterday. We stopped at the Huck Lab Shout out to Jay for having us, Huck Lab store, and saw him, picked up some Huck Lab discs. Colton got some Lone Howls done.
Nice.
And then we came to Ogden. We just arrived to Ogden today. So we're chilling, relaxing. I actually took off this week. We got done with Portland Open and I was feeling it. So I'm taking off this week from the Utah Open to, let my body relax before Worlds.
Yeah, and that'll be great having basically a full 2 weeks to acquaint yourself with the courses.
Yes, and it kind of brings me back to Colorado vibes because we're at elevation here, and
Sure.
I feel like that gives me a little bit of extra confidence knowing that I know what discs fly like at this elevation, where I feel like some people are gonna get a wake-up call.
Yeah, I've been stockpiling some flippy stuff, but yeah, perfect segue into kind of getting the Kona disc golf story started here on the show. I know you're from originally Colorado.
Yep.
And you and your family live there, and that's where you started disc golfing, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys have been playing a long time. All your family, really. How did you guys find disc golf?
So my dad actually, first when he found the sport, he had just like a lid. Him and his buddy, and actually one of our next door neighbors, they really got into it. They went to a small 9-hole course back in my hometown of Littleton, Colorado. Ken Carl Park, and it was actually one of the first courses I grew up playing. It was really short, and he kind of started with a lid, and then he got so in-depth in disc golf, and he started co-founded the disc golf club Mile High Disc Golf, which is actually one of the biggest disc golf clubs I believe in the country. And he went head first. He got obsessed with it, and did some tournaments, and there's photos of me as a little nugget almost as big as Coraline, and I'm just sitting there behind the table helping him check people in. So I've been involved in disc golf for a very long time, and he's given me discs growing up, but it wasn't until high school when I really got obsessed with it.
Yeah, sure. Well, we kind of have to touch on your first tournament. We always do that on this show.
Yes.
How old were you exactly for the 2005 Mile High Classic?
Oh my gosh, if it was 2005, I believe I was only 7 years old. And
Wow.
did it show my rating, my first ever rating? Did you guys see that?
I tried, but it didn't show it. I just know you shot 123 throws.
I don't know if it was that one in 2005 or a different one, but my first ever rated round, I believe, was in the 200s.
And that makes sense. I mean, why wouldn't it be? You're only 7 or 8 years old trying to get around a big course, probably.
I know, it's just so crazy to look back. My first ever rated round was in the 200s. Dang, some people it's oh, my first ever rated round was in the 900s, and it's cool looking back and seeing that.
Yeah, so I saw that your dad was playing open at that event. Was you must have, your mom was caddying for you, or because you were the only girl in your age group, which isn't weird since you were 7. But do you remember that at all, or is it kind of too fuzzy and you were too little?
No, so mom used to be my main woman. She was my caddy, my everything. I remember her literally on every single hole being like, okay, are you tired? Do you need snacks? Okay, drink this. I remember her constantly feeding me, a Skittle every once in a while. She's like, all right, we need to get your blood sugar going. You're kind of lagging, and I remember some of my very favorite memories of her just caddying and just being there. And I remember some of those tournaments I believe I dropped out of because I was just so tired and exhausted after, only one round. But, it's cool. Mom was a big part of my disc golf career when I was young. And it's something I don't really remember all that often because it wasn't until, high school when I was going out with my dad a lot.
Yeah, and then high school, was that kind of when you started traveling for tournaments? I think that's around when I met you. You must have still been in high school.
Yes, yeah. So it was either my junior year or my senior year of high school when I met you, Paul, and Anthony Barella, and we played my first round with you guys at Vista del Camino.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't want to putt in front of you guys because I was my putt was not confident and it was not great. And I remember just picking my disc up when we would get close to the green and walking to the next hole because I was like, I am not putting in front of these people and showing them how bad it was. So, that was so cool that, Hannah hooked me up with Paul and I was able to do that with you guys because that was a very big part of my like, oh my gosh, like I want to do this and I want to do this all the time. You know, I want to spend every weekend with these guys and see what they, you know, what they can teach me and what I can learn.
Yeah, sure. I definitely remember meeting you that day and being impressed, seeing you have some good power. I remember talking to Paul, like you'd be thrown and be like, "Eh, your forehand's pretty good," or whatever, because that's all we knew is we're coming to meet a young player and see how you were. And yeah, I definitely remember that round. I remember kind of hanging out a little bit, maybe at the Glass Blown Open or something in Emporia,
Maple
maybe
Hill.
party that might have been the same year, and Maple Hill too.
Yep.
Yep, cool. So those were kind of some of your first big trips for disc golf?
Yeah, and then you actually gave me a huge tip at Maple Hill that I think I was throwing like destroyers and strikes on these wooded holes, and I remember you're like, maybe you should like disc down and not throw like 100%, like just try and hit your line. You're not getting all the way to the basket. And I remember I was like, oh, you're right. Oh my gosh, you're so right. I remember just like one of those moments as an amateur player, you don't think about that stuff. And now looking back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, why was I throwing 13 speeds down these tiny fairways? So yeah, it's cool. It's so cool to look back on. Talking about it, I don't even remember half this stuff until you kind of like dig in deep.
Totally. You got to hear a little story and it turns on some light bulb. You remember something else. But
yeah,
I think that's a common thing. And I mean, everyone could stand to remember that sometimes, even me, where you're like, it's so hard to give up the dream of like the perfect shot and the hole in one, when the likelihood of that on a Maple Hill fairway with a fast disc, when it's like at the top end of your possible distance, like you'd need to hit the flip perfect and keep it in between all the trees. It's like the chances is like less than 1%. But I think a lot of players, it's hard to give up on something on the dream of like, man, well, if I threw it perfect, I mean, I know I could, but yeah, definitely stepping back and it'll help your score in the long run if you kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah, learning how to play golf instead of just going for it.
Sure. So now your dad works for Innova, your mom works for Hero Disc, and you guys moved from Colorado to California for that opportunity, if I'm not mistaken. And even you put some time in working in the Innova warehouse, haven't you?
Yeah, so I remember I reached out to Innova. Prodigy turned me down. I actually reached out to them first. Not a lot of people know that. Will Schustrick asked me to play another year, try and maybe get some wins, and then come back the next year and see. And I'm like, dang, I really liked, I believe their M4 I was really obsessed with. And I'm like, all right, that stinks. And then I went to Innova, and I remember talking to Jonathan and being like, I'm obsessed with like this driver, and I think I was throwing the T-Bird a crap ton. I just aced with the T-Bird, and I was like, I'm loving this. I'm getting obsessed with disc golf. I'm getting into media. I'm posting a lot on Instagram. And I remember he was like, you know what? Like, let's just, let's take a chance, welcome to the team. And then I believe either that year or the following year, my dad kind of did some freelancing stuff for them, some small media stuff. And then he was kind of deciding between some jobs. He kind of had the opportunity to look at a few different job opportunities, and one of them was Innova. And my dad's like, we sat down as a family, and my dad was like, how do you feel about this disc golf thing? Is this something you want to pursue? And, I was very serious about it. I, loved the lifestyle. It looked so dreamy. And, we ended up moving within that next month to California. So kind of grabbed our life, and it was my mom, my dad, and myself. We all drove to California. My brother stayed in Colorado. And fun fact, my brother actually works for Hero now as well. He stamps their discs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's a whole family affair.
Had you had like just graduated high school, or did you have to go to high school in California?
No, I had just graduated high school. I think I was working at a rec center and didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, and didn't want to spend a crap ton of money on college quite yet until I figured out what I wanted to do. So I was kind of waiting to get to California, see if this whole disc golf thing would work out, and then either go to college there in California. I was looking at classes there, or I was going to pursue this disc golf thing, and ended up, meeting Colton down the road and got on the road with them later on, and, did the disc golf thing.
Yeah. I'm glad it went that way. I think a lot of people are getting the chance to see you throw and see your success this year. The game's definitely better having another rising star, especially American, because we all know those Europeans are bringing it. So we need you. We need Haley. We need these young, great American women playing the game and playing well.
Yep, I know the Evelina and Hennas of the world. They're coming.
Yeah, for sure they are. So let's see. We're like I guess we're I kind of want to. I can't wait too long to get into the amazing things you've done this year. So we're going to kind of skip ahead even more to that. We're about halfway through 2021, the season so far. Already, you've had some pretty unforgettable tournaments at the All Star, and then even more so at Waco. I was wondering if you feel like your win at Waco has changed anything about your expectations for yourself or your goals for your career.
Oh, I think Waco is a huge turning point for my confidence and the way I kind of look at the game now. I put Paige Pierce on a pretty high pedestal just because she really got me into the game. And, I even tried her putt back in the day. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of my Instagram, I'm in like my garage, trying her Paige Pierce over the top head, spin putt. And, seeing that I could win and, come out on top and put together 3 great rounds, it just it didn't knock her off that pedestal, but it just showed that she's not superhuman and I have the same ability to do the same thing. It's just consistency. And, Waco, seeing I could do it and kind of not believing that I did it and seeing that I won by that amount of strokes, and it was surreal. And having Colton there with me on the 18th green made it that much special. And like calling my parents, they were in Hawaii, and so they were at the top of some mountain when I called them, and so they had to drive down. And then I finally got service, and I remember just crying and screaming on the phone with them. And it was just like seeing all the hard work finally pay off. And I've been putting a lot of work in, whether it's on my form or it was on my putt. This new putt, everyone thinks it's so weird looking, and it worked. Like it did.
Yeah.
It just proved that no matter what it is, as long as it goes in the basket, it doesn't matter. And as long as it gives you the confidence, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought, innovate, be comfortable in what you want to do, and you don't need to worry about how it looks. I mean, I've had tournaments, nothing on the big stage like that, but I remember early in my career having days where my putt felt bad and starting to putt. I was putting like 30 footers from a knee in a wide open field because I was
Wow.
like, this works better.
Crazy.
So sometimes you got to get wild. Sometimes you got to do
Yeah.
something different when you just aren't trusting what you're doing. So I thought it was incredible. And you spoke about your margin of victory. What was it, like 12 or something? I should have had that number handy, but it was a ton.
12 strokes.
Yeah. Okay. So I knew it. Good. Probably the most dominant performance for a first time Elite Series winner ever, at least that I can recall. I don't feel like that's ever happened before. We talked about it a little bit, but I'd love to hear a little bit more just kind of about what you were feeling as that weekend went on, because I'm sure at the beginning you're just like, wow, I did a great round, but you don't really think like, oh, I might win. You're like, well, that was great. Hopefully I can keep going, but then as that dream of winning became more and more real, and then like that moment where it kind of went like, I guess I'd really have to mess up at this point. Like I'm kind of going to win. Like just kind of walk us through some of that, how those emotions felt, and when you started to realize like this is happening, if you had that kind of moment.
Yeah, so after first round, I shot that 6 down, and I remember I was like, dang, like that was a really great score because the Beast it's a tough course. You have a mix of all kinds of different shots. It's I feel like every hole you're kind of throwing something different, and I just remember finishing that round being like, oh, that was really clean. Like, I'm curious how Paige finished. And I think she ended up either tying me or she had me by 1 or something like that. And I remember going into that second round very nervous. I remember sitting on the first tee kind of shaking. And I believe I hit early and went out of bounds. And, in that moment, I mentally made a choice. I'm like, you can either let this really upset you because I'm shaking, I'm already nervous, I'm on lead card, I'm I'm already in the lead, or I have the chance to have the lead and I already went out of bounds. And I just told myself to push forward. And I remember that day Seth gave me some breathing techniques, and I remember sitting there for a second and while everyone else threw their tee shots and did my breathing techniques. And then I just remember after that hole, after I get past the first hole, I'm fine.
Yep.
And after I shot that second round and I shot another 6 down, I was in awe. I was just like, holy crap, like I just shot another 6 down on this crazy course while Paige Pierce just shot like, I don't even know if she shot that round, but it wasn't Paige Pierce. Like I remember watching her play and I'm like, that wasn't PP. I don't know who that was, but it wasn't her. And she hugged me on hole 18 on the second round and she's like, dude, I wish I could see it tomorrow. And in my head I'm like see what, like I'm not thinking I'm going out and just winning it, running away with it. So I'm like see me play, yeah, cool, whatever. But I still wasn't like believing in it. It's still one of those moments where yes, like I believe I could do it, but in that moment I'm like maybe we'll see.
Sure.
And then I remember that third round, I had my card with, I believe, Missy Gannon, Madison Walker, and the third name is missing me. I'm sorry for whoever that is. And I remember Missy and Madison kind of giggling, and they're like, ha, 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 like, we shouldn't even be here. Like, this isn't even a competition. Like, you have this, like, crazy lead already. And I remember kind of just giggling and being like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's not over until it's over. Like, I still had that mindset even with my lead going into the last round. And that last round, I wanted to shoot another 6. So, I said I didn't have any expectations, but, I wanted to see if I could go, turkey, see if I could go 3 rounds, 6 down. And I ended up only shooting, I believe, only four down that round. But honestly, it wasn't until the last hole until I absolutely positively knew that I won. And I was like waiting for everybody to tap out. And then in that moment, I'm like, all right, like you did it. You got through the last round. You played clean. I got some really good birdies in there too, even with some misplayed, bad shots. I even was getting upset. Like I remember Colton walked up to me and he's like, hey, calm down. Like you still have like this enormous lead. But I remember I wanted to shoot the best I could for that final round, even if I did have that lead. So amazing feeling. When Terry was interviewing me, obviously I couldn't hold back. I, was, very overcome with emotion and, rightfully so. It's been a long time coming for me personally. And PP, she hugged me on that, on that green after I won and everything. And that meant a lot just because, like I said, she's someone I'd looked up to for a very long time. And, getting recognition from the 5-time world champ, that means a lot. But now looking back at it, now like every time like we play a tournament, like I want that win. I'm constantly searching for that feeling of, I think Colton posted it in his caption yesterday, the feeling of accomplishment and that same kind of competitive play that I had back when I was in Waco. Like I'm still trying to find that feeling of just peace while I was on the course. Like I remember I wasn't thinking about any kind of form or putting or nothing. Like it was just, I was freely just playing, and I'm still trying to find that feeling.
Yeah, when it's going like that, it feels easy, and that doesn't mean you don't make any mistakes.
Yeah,
it just means you don't overthink. You're just kind of out there performing. And yeah, I mean, I think that's how it works. Like everyone else feels like you've won, but it makes no sense for you to, like if you're on T1 of the third round going, well, I guess I got it done, you're probably going to lose. Like you have to stay locked in. And I think that's what I expected you to say, is that you didn't really count yourself as a winner until the very end. I know that's how it feels for me when I've been fortunate enough to come away with wins. I'm not like ever celebrating until the very, very end, because I just want to keep grinding and keep doing as well as I can. And I got the results right here. I pulled them up. And if you need any proof I think this says it almost better than you can about how much you respect Paige Pierce. You said after round 1, she might have had you by a stroke or you might have been tied. You were leading by 3. But it's funny that your memory tells you that she was beating you, because that's how amazing she is, right? You almost think, well, of course she had the lead. But no, you were winning by 3. But yeah, obviously, I feel like really fortunate that I was able to do the live commentary, because if I'm not doing live commentary, I don't have time to watch live. So it's like when I do get to do live commentary, it's like not only do I get paid and get to do a job, but I get to watch live disc golf. I had a really watching that event unfold and watching you play and how well you did. It was really, really great. And yeah, I think clearly you've got it in you to do it again, and I'm sure that you will soon. Soon as in 2 or 3 weeks, right?
Oof, gosh, I would. Oh my lord, I would love a world championship. But you know what? I have a lot to work on, and
No,
with
don't,
how
yeah,
Paige has been playing, she's been playing pretty lights out lately. I
sure,
played around with her at Santa Cruz, and I saw some frustration, which gives me some some ease because I'm like, all right, she's getting frustrated about something in her form, so she has some work to do too. It's not
sure.
all that easy. So yeah, for me, it's putting green and some simple upshots that I've been messing up lately that need to get tuned up before Worlds.
Sure, and I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying that you can. Don't. I'm not
Oh
trying to put
yeah.
any pressure on you. I'm just
No,
saying that you can.
no. Heck yeah, no,
Uh,
I agree.
yeah, for sure. I was wondering, kind of switching gears again. What do you feel your biggest strength is as a disc golfer?
My biggest strength as a disc golfer. Lately, it's been with my physical ability with my drives, but recently and especially at Waco, it was my mental
Sure.
side was just so good. And honestly, I want to give a huge shout out to our diet because I feel like since going, Colton's been doing it with me. We've been gluten free and we've been eating more organic. And I feel like it's been a huge part of my season this year and how I'm feeling, both before or after my rounds. And then it's the weirdest thing. I never thought I would say this, but I feel more clear in my mind because I actually have a thyroid condition, and I get this brain fog where I don't anymore since going gluten free, which is insane. I used to get this brain fog, and it would just kind of cloud my mind without even noticing it. And ever since we went gluten free, I believe we're 4 or 5 months gluten free and kind of organic. I feel like I'm able to actually focus on when I'm actually playing, and I feel amazing when I'm out there. I don't feel sluggish. So I feel like, our change in diet and we practice a lot during the off season, just like added to that as well.
Awesome. What's the go-to restaurant? Because you can't be cooking every meal when you're living in the van on the road. Like what conforms to that diet for you guys?
So I do actually cook most of our meals. We probably eat out for dinner maybe once or twice a week, but I'm cooking most all of our meals in the
That's
van.
pretty impressive. That's hard to do to have the planning and the time with all the travel and everything. That's great.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite parts about, a van life is we're able to do everything just inside of our van and we don't spend a ton of money eating out. We had got hooked up with Backstage Organics this year, and he's been hooking us up with a bunch of coupons, and
Nice.
Natural Grocers has been giving us a bunch of, food, supplying us with healthy food. So that's actually been helpful towards that as well. But no, we cook a lot.
That's awesome. I was curious. I don't know if I don't. This is kind of along the same lines as a strength, but just kind of like a fun thought exercise. And if one doesn't pop into your head, you can just say, I don't know. But I was wondering, like, if is there a hole that you've played that kind of pops into your head if I put you in this scenario where it's you, Paige Pierce, Katrina Allen tied first hole of the playoff. You could pick any hole for it to be on. Like this playoff could be taking place anywhere. What hole are you picking to give you the best chance to win, and why do you pick that hole?
To give me the best
Well,
chance.
yeah, I mean, you get to choose. It's like this, you're tied, and now it's like you have this magic machine where you can go to any hole for hole one of the playoff, and the choice is yours.
Ooh. I don't know why, but for some reason Maple Hill comes to my head. But
Cool, cool.
if I'm thinking of another hole, maybe
Obviously,
Fountain.
they're okay. Sweet, yeah, like hole one.
Yeah, hole one Fountain, because that brings in some pressure, and
Sure.
it's a big hyzer with something kind of overstable to get that skip. I kind of dig that hole one at Fountain.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah, cool. I was just curious, and it doesn't. Obviously, they're incredible players. It's not like saying they would do badly on it, but just the whole
No,
that you have a lot of confidence, and that you're going to have a good chance to be in there and at least extend the playoff, if not win it right on the first hole.
yeah,
All right, so I just kind of have one more thing before we get to some fan questions for you, if you have time for those.
yep.
Another kind of just a little exercise. I wish I could watch more FPO, but I'm usually playing and doing all these things, so I don't get to watch as much as I'd like. I'm curious, very unofficially, if you wouldn't mind telling us, in your opinion, the top 5 in terms of distance on the course in the FPO division right now? So not necessarily distance contests in a field, but who's bombing it out there the longest right now in FPO division during the tournament?
Ooh, I like that.
I mean, I'm getting some insane distance lately, so I'm gonna put.
I think
Paige
you should
Pierce,
be in there.
I am in there. Heck yeah,
Good,
I'm in there.
good.
Paige Pierce number 1, Katrina number 2, Haley King number 3, only because she outdrove me on 18 this past weekend by 10 feet. I'll take number 4, and then number 5. Who's throwing far lately? Kat. I'm gonna do a dark horse. Kat Merch, actually, when she gets on her drives, she can bomb. For her, it's just consistency and having straight confidence, but she has some crazy distance, and I'm excited to see, where her game goes in the next few years.
Sweet. I love it. Cool. Well, if you don't mind, I'm sure we got quite a few fan questions in after we posted that we were having you on the show.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
we
got a lot of fan questions, although Nate, you did such a solid job. We got a lot of them answered actually in the interview, but that's okay. We got plenty of them. Now, before we get to some fan questions though, Kona, one of the things that we do, well, we actually have a few things that we do on this show that we like to bring back, little reoccurring segments here. And I noticed that when you did your Instagram live with your dad after the win in Waco, it appeared you might have been in like an RV of some sort. Is that how you and Colton are traveling?
Yeah, so we actually drive in I believe it's a 17-foot transit van 250 high roof extended. And Colton built out the whole entire thing himself. So I painted most of our dressers, and his family helped paint. And then we have 2 fans up top that help circulate our air when it gets toasty, like it is in Utah this week. Oh my gosh, it's going to be toasty. And then, it has everything we could possibly need, like all the shoes we carry. Oh my gosh. And then.
So you're 100 pairs and his 2 pair?
Yeah, no.
Ooh, I don't know.
He's the shoe king. He loves his shoes.
So it sounds like that might be a little too fancy, but who knows? You guys may have come into something. We always like to ask for some kind of crazy road story, an RV story. The air conditioning fell off the top, our tire fell off, we didn't close the cabinets and everything fell out. Have you guys come across anything like that in your travels?
Oh, I feel
an RV horror story, if you will.
It's knock on wood. Knock on all the wood.
Let's
in
go.
my
Yeah,
van right
I got some
now.
right here. Here I go.
Okay, yes. Yeah, we haven't had any. Oh, knock, 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 knock. We haven't had any issues with the van yet. We've seen a car on fire, like ready to blow up. We've seen like a Jeep in a review mirror literally lose his tire within like a second of us passing him. But nothing to the point of us being super sketched out, thankfully, because we've had a very, knock on all the wood, we've had some great experience with our van. Every time it gets to like another 100 miles, we always give it a nice little love tap and say, "Good job, freak, keep going."
Nice.
You guys are young. There's still time. We'll catch you in a few years. For sure. Now, another thing that we do is we have Nate pick out a disc out of his bag, and he kind of breaks it down and tells us what he likes to use it for, why he bags it, why it's important. But why we have you here, we know that you had that big win, and I know that you were talking a lot with your dad about a particular disc that was kind of a workhorse for you. Why don't you break down your super swirly, pretty, really awesome Mako 3?
Oh gosh, I'm shout out to Innova for giving me the Star Mako 3 this year, because not only has it changed my bag. I didn't have the Mako 3 in my bag until I believe last year before I got to pick my first tour series. But they went with the transitional star, which I'm so stoked they did, and didn't just go with the average star plastic. So every disc is actually a little bit different. I have some people come up to me and it's like a purple and pink swirly craziness, and it's really cool. We had some spectators at Portland Open have me sign them, and it's, shout out to our spectators that came out. It's so nice to have people cheering for us again. But Star Mako 3 changed my game because I like to compare it to the Leopard 3 in a sense, just like a shorter Leopard 3, very consistent, dead straight with lots of glide. I feel like I can even do it standstill and hit it hard, and it just kind of pops up for me, rides straight, doesn't flip over on me at all because it's that 180 gram. And this run came out pretty great. It's not super understable. I feel like the power throwers can actually throw it, but even your average amateur player, maybe even coming from Ultimate, might love the Mako 3 too, because it's kind of Frisbee-esque. But great plastic, nice gummy transitional star plastic. And I got to give a shout out to Chris Roswell, one of our Innova art artists. He actually did the artwork and absolutely, did a great job. It came out so great.
Yeah, and for those of you that are listening, you can go ahead and pick that disc up at absolutely nowhere because they sell out super fast. So you guys all have all these awesome discs, and we just look at them and hope that someday let's get those factories cranking and get some plastic out. Nate, where are the Firebirds?
Where are the Firebirds? I know.
Okay, fine. I'll let them out. Jeez.
I need to get new tires on my car. I've got this. I need. All right, so we've got a ton of questions here, Kona, and of the hundreds of questions I've got, half of them are around your putt. And I know that you spoke a little bit about it already, and how important it's been to you. So let's just pick out one of these putting questions. What was your motivation to switch up the putt, and how did you come up with the new stance that you're using? Was it something that was taught to you? Did you just find it comfortable? Everybody wants to hear about this new putt.
So I was using just a normal staggered putt, I believe, before COVID, and it just wasn't working. And then COVID hit, and obviously we had a lot of time to try new things. And I remember when we were back in California for the off season, I was working on an Anheuser approach, just kind of like a throw from probably 200 feet out, something that I could just kind of loft at an Anheuser left of the basket and have it kind of just fade out and land flat at the basket without any, weird skips or fades. And I remember I was enjoying just the way it was coming out of my hand, and I was using it a lot for up shots, and then all of a sudden I lost this putt. And I actually reached out to one of my mentors, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this throw putt thing? Like, I like it from far away, but do you think it could work for a putt? Because I lost my putt and it's just not working. I need to find something new. And we spoke for a bit, and he's like, yeah, you can definitely use it. Just shorten the stroke and focus on the hit. And I remember I was just feeling good, and I was making these putts. I was making, 30 footers and bigger putts, and I wasn't having to jump, or, I felt with my old putt, I was pushing it too much. I wasn't getting any spin. So at least with this new putt, had a lot of spin, so I could do it from all kinds of distances. And honestly, it was just a lot of trial and error. It's still a lot of trial and error. This current moment, I'm actually between that Anheuser putt from like 0 to 15, and then I'm straddling from 15 to 25, and then I'm Annie putting from like 25 and out. It's right now it's all mental for me, and it's using whatever works, whatever is going in the basket right now. And I still got to figure out the rhythm on the Annie putt. I got to find that Waco putt again.
What is your go-to putter? What are you throwing?
So I put with the Infinite Disc. Shout out to Infinite Discs. Lots of shout outs today. They actually came out with a special run of Glow D-Blend alpacas for me. So it's kind of a deep dish putter, very floaty, doesn't go very far with my kind of putt. It kind of just sits right next to the basket. And yeah, it's glow plastic, so it's a little bit more stable than their D blend that they have. And I've actually really been enjoying it, and they've been beating in really nice. But it was a very small run, so not a lot of people have those.
So another awesome disc that we can't get our hands on. Okay, got it.
Yes.
No, great. Here's one that you kind of started to touch on a little bit. Andrew from Instagram says, what advice would you give a player that grew up in Colorado and with the altitude to help prepare for throwing not at elevation and vice versa? I know it plays a factor in the flight of the discs.
So I actually enjoy going back to Colorado when my form is messed up, because it forces me to throw my discs a lot harder, and I feel like it fixes my timing, as funny as that sounds. I remember playing somewhere, on the East Coast, and then, struggling with my form. It was off, and then we came back to Colorado for a week or two, and I remember it just went back into sync, just because I was having to throw a lot harder to get more distance at Colorado because of the elevation and how stable discs are there. My tip would be, when you're coming back to, sea level and, the elevations like that, you need to throw more over stable discs, because in Colorado we have to throw flippy stuff because we need the disc to work a lot harder, because I believe there's less air for it to, fly through, where when you're at like sea level and stuff, you have more to work through. So when you're coming at elevation discs, when you're coming to sea level, you're not having to throw as hard to get the same kind of flight. So I guess I would say throw more over stable plastic when you're coming to, a California or somewhere else that's not like Colorado, because you won't have to work as hard to get the disc to fly as far or to do the flight that it usually needs or does by itself. Crazy elevation.
And I think if you're able, I would say just take different discs, because you got your babies that you've been throwing in Colorado that you love, and then when you go down to sea level, it's going to be like you're not going to trust any of them anymore, and then it's going to get weird. So if you're able, if that's within your means, grab some spares and just take different discs and learn those ones down there, and then you don't need to, unless you're a career disc golfer and you're going up and down all the time. I think that might be better, because then you don't have to have this weird thought in the back of your mind about why is your Shrike flipping over and riding right so far when you're in California. You can just leave them at home and start new with something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we have a weird elevation here, and that's what's happening to my discs.
Must be. That's got to be why they're not flying farther.
I can't believe we didn't get on this. Okay. Kona, Jarrett from Buffalo asks, there's been some pretty impressive power couples in disc golf. You've got Nate Dawson, Valerie Jenkins. You got Paul and Hannah, Garrett and Jessica, Nate and Germ. Where do you think you and Colton would stack up in a couples doubles match?
Oh gosh, it's so funny you asked this, because Colton and I played, I believe it was 2019 Worlds in Vermont.
18.
18. All right, 2018 we played doubles at Worlds, and it was not great. I believe we kind of were just playing our own game, and we were like, I don't think we're really good at this. I remember I think I twisted my ankle or something silly, and then we just pulled out. We weren't even upset about it, because we were like, I don't think we're really great at doubles. But if we were to do it nowadays, now it's a few years down the road and we know everything about each other's bags, I think we kick butt. Colton's been putting really well. I think he was almost 100% inside the circle at Portland Open. And we both have some really good distance, an accurate distance. So I think, bring it, Garrett and Jess. Come on. Let's go.
Nice.
Yes. That's the exact answer I'm looking for, by the way. I love that. Let's get this set up. We're gonna do this. We're gonna get the siblings rolling with one, and I think this couples doubles thing is Joe Mez, are you listening?
Where you at?
Yeah, seriously. Let's make this thing happen here. Okay, we've got another one here. Lee from Instagram wants to know, what fuels Kona's fire? If Kona had to choose a song as a reflection of herself, what would it be? And lastly, now that Kona has started listening and looking for birds in moments of peace, is there a bird that's your favorite?
That's hard. I just started doing bird watching, and it's been so cool on the course. Like, I've been seeing all kinds of different birds, and Colton and I have been listening to an audiobook. I believe Golf is Not a Game of Perfect, and it just mentioned, when it's not your shot, you shouldn't be just constantly focusing on disc golf. Have a way to kind of take yourself back when it's not your turn, and that's been my thing. So I've been kind of enjoying all the nature and everything, and I've been trying to do, find ways to learn while I'm also on the course, keep my mind going and learning new things. So I actually found a tree creeper in Portland. He was this cute little bird. He was on this tree, and I was like, dang, that's kind of a cute bird. I looked him up, and tree creeper, and I thought that was so funny. He creeps on trees, I guess. But that he's been my favorite so far. And then California quail, that's been kind of cool to see. I actually talked to my friend across, on the East Coast, and she's like, oh, I would have loved to see a California quail. So that's been cool. But gosh, if I could pick a song, for some reason it just makes me want to go to like a Metallica or like a System of a Down, just like rock. I love Colton and I, we like listening to our 13-minute Tool songs while we're driving. So maybe something like that. What else was in that question? He asked like 3 questions in one.
Yeah, I think that was a lot. I think you nailed it though. Oh, what fuels your fire?
Oh,
that's how we started it.
Gosh, when I play bad, it actually kind of fuels my fire, because obviously, like we talked earlier, I know the potential I have, and I see what I can do when I put everything together. And I think that's what fuels my fire, is seeing, I can do it again. And I want to do it again. And I want to be like Paige and be able to post my Instagram, hey, this is my 4th consecutive win. Like, yeah, I want to be able to be playing at that level and be shooting these rounds that I'm just insanely proud of. Not that I'm not proud of what I've done so far, but I'm constantly pushing to, get that higher rated round, or, get that feeling of, just like I said, accomplishment. Again, I've been kind of frustrated with my play lately. It's been a little inconsistent. So to get that back, that really fuels my fire.
Are you guys really headbanging all the way down the road? Tool and Metallica? Is that really all you guys are listening to?
Not everything. No, we listen to a lot of different kinds of stuff. No, it's if you're on the road, you learn. You have to love all kinds of different music to keep it fresh and new.
Side question: did you see those baby quail at De La?
No, dude. I looked every single day, and then Madison posted a video. She saw them, and I was very sad. I did not see the baby quail.
Dang.
They were tiny, weren't they?
So small.
Oh. Dang it. Yeah,
I don't think we have any quail here, but I had a big deer run right through a fairway today, and really had no idea where it was. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. You get to enjoy some nature out there. I think, Nate, you said you showed Germ some app that you can point at trees and bushes and figure out what they're called. What was that app?
Animals too. It's called Seek, SEEK.
Well, isn't Germ always calling trees the wrong name during Joe Max?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't stop at just trees. He's calling almost everything the wrong name.
Well, thank God he's got you there He's got you there to take care of it. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because that was going to be one of our other questions. A lot of people were asking like what you guys are listening to, and so like we got that one. We got that out of the way. Corey from Las Vegas asks, "What is the hardest part of sticking to your new diet? And if willing to share, what issues did you have before that going gluten-free resolved or made better?" Now, again, that's something you kind of touched on a little bit, but.
Yeah, it's really hard. I'm a huge sweets person. I've always loved desserts. My grandma growing up, she was, the best bake. She baked all the goods. And so that's been a hard part for me. Like, we walked in to get dinner at the local Flying J tonight, and there was this giant oatmeal raisin cookie, and it was just staring me in the face. And Colton's like, you don't need it. There's other sweets you can eat that don't have gluten. So I sadly walked out, but that's been a tough part for me, not eating all my sweets. I love tiramisu and all that stuff, so it's been depressing. But nowadays, they've had so many great gluten-free options that I haven't been too upset. So I have a thyroid condition called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and I had a lot of inflammation. And so if you look at old photos of me, you can even see it in my face. Like, it just looked puffy. Like, it just looks like a lot of fluid. And ever since going gluten-free, I haven't had bloating. Like I said earlier, I have more energy. I feel a lot better. And the biggest thing for me was when I was eating a lot of gluten, it almost felt like, not I was suffocating, but kind of like I had a lot of pressure on my throat area because my thyroid was so inflamed. So that's gone away, and then my brain fog has gone away. And it's been an amazing journey, just seeing how different you can feel if you put things that actually make a difference in your body.
Sounds like maybe something I should give a shot to. Maybe I should look into that because it seems to be working for your game. Do you think the bag of Sour Patch that I polished off while you and Nate were chatting is gluten-free?
Yes, it's gluten-free, but it's not.
Okay, all right, then I'm already on a good start. No, don't just stop. Okay,
How's the
gluten-free,
brain fog, Jared? It must be clearing up.
Yeah, a little bit.
Clear now. That's great.
Yeah, all right. Well, good.
I've had to get that now.
Right. See? It's all about baby steps, Nate, okay? You can't rush this thing here. All right, so you know what, Kona? We've taken a bunch of your time already. We got some cool fan questions in. You answered a bunch of them. Like I said, I was super excited to have you on. I think it's just amazing watching you kind of break out this year and all of the top 10 finishes that you've had. And I'm really looking forward to you for years and years to come to continue going. And I will comment at one of the questions that we did get, and it was something that I did think about, and it came in from was it whose name was it here? I'm sorry, whoever it was, but they mentioned how serious your game face is when you're out there playing. And when I'm watching you, I think to myself all the time, I'm like, wow, I've seen her do like Instagram live videos and she seems really nice, but she doesn't seem right now. She looks like she's ready. She's ready to go right now. Is that something that you work on? Like, are you in the mirror, like, game face ready? The Jomez cameras are going to be out there today. Are you trying to intimidate your card mates, Kona? Is that what it is?
No, but you know what? I love that you say that I look scary because when I get on the course, it's all business. And lately, this is random and kind of very honest. Lately, I've been feeling some sort of pressure. I feel like the FPO, like you feel like you have to be BFFs with everyone on your card, and you have to have, all this fun while you're playing. And lately I've been like, you know what? Like, I don't have to have fun to play well. Sorry, there's a train coming by. And, not to say that I'm, Debbie Downer, but I've definitely been more focused on what I'm doing. And then, like, I walk over and maybe chat every once in a while. But, I feel pretty stoic when I'm out on the course because I want to play so well. And I have these expectations now. Back then I'll mention I've said, oh, no expectations, but I want to do well. And part of that is, saying I love you guys and you guys are my friends off the course, but let's get to work. I want to do my best.
I like it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And again, I love seeing the FPO. You guys are just, the competition is just getting so much better. The rounds are getting so incredible. It's just, I genuinely enjoy watching it. And I think that you guys are really, you guys have really come on pace with the men, and it's impressive to see. And I told Nate actually either today or yesterday that I want to start a YouTube series with some of the FPO players and take them around and just have you guys wipe courses up with these guys that like to leave their snide comments on social media, and then make it so they can never show up at their local course again after they get beat by 20 by any of you ladies. So it's just been amazing watching what you guys are doing, and I look forward to watching you do it for a long time, Kona. So thanks for coming on and joining us.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks. And you know what? Keep on getting women on, Running It with Nate Sexton, or if you guys do anything else cool like that, because, not only do we appreciate you guys showing the FPO side, but I think other people do as well. And We need to keep pushing the women's side of disc golf. So we're growing the sport, and things like USWDGC, where we're playing 3 courses for, all of our amateur women and stuff like that, doesn't happen. And we get looked at with not more respect, but kind of. And people, see that we're here too. So yeah, I appreciate you guys having me and, doing all the podcasts. I listened to Juliana's, and that one was really cool. So, showing women that we're here and we're here to stay.
Yeah, absolutely. We love it. We will continue to do that. Well, thank you so much, Kona, for joining us. And, tell Colton, win another big one. We'll let him come on the show.
Okay, awesome. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for having me. And shout out to anyone who sent in any questions. I appreciated answering all of them.
Awesome. Good luck at the Worlds. Good luck in your practice.
All right, see you at Worlds. Bye, guys.
Well, Nate, Kona was a lot of fun. I had a feeling that she was going to be. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, and she certainly didn't disappoint. And like I said, I think that she is going to be a name in that FPO division for years and years to come. Yeah,
she's fantastic, and I'm so happy for her to kind of turn in this corner and taking her place among some of the elite players, because she came up. And she was really good on social media from the beginning. And you heard people like, oh, she's just on there because she's got this Instagram following. She doesn't deserve the sponsorship or whatever. And I, always I was in her corner. She was playing well and she was very young. But now it's like all those people are so proven wrong because her talent level is right there. I feel like she's one of the most well-rounded women that plays right now. And the putt has, as she admitted to, the putt comes and goes. But once it gets here to stay, which I don't think is that long away, when she kind of settles into a routine and a style, she's going to be a contender week in and week out.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of fun to watch. A side note, Nate, we did get a question that came in, or even a comment from Spencer Lee, and he said a follow-up. He was listening to the Ask Nate Anything episode, heard a little bit about what you were talking about. He headed down to the pier, took your exact line on the dream catcher hole, and he did miss his birdie. He had a 50-footer for birdie that he missed, but wanted to thank you for the tip and hit the line perfectly. So
hey, 50-footer is really good on that hole.
Yeah, that's it's a tough course. So Nate, what's up next for you? You said you're staying in Oregon, and then it's Worlds after that, right?
That's right. Yeah, Resistance Discs open this week, and then the Worlds. I get about 3 or 4 days at home before I have to head out for the Worlds.
Well, I'm excited for that, man. So, guys, we can't thank you enough for joining us, downloading, sharing all of the comments, all of the questions. We certainly appreciate all of them. Checking out our sponsors and supporting them is the best way to support us. So thank you again, FisherDiscGolf.com, Double G Craft Jerky, WunderKind CBD and Extracts. Just we really appreciate all of the support. Nate, I'll tell you what, I was telling my buddies again today, we played a couple hard courses, and my one buddy goes, well, you can get up and down easy here. You lay it up and you toss it in. And I looked over at him and I said, I've never laid up a shot in my life. Right before I ripped my AVR about 25 feet past the basket. So there's some people that don't mind layups, but us here,
on this show, we got to run it for sure. They're making 1,300-foot uphill par fives now. You don't get to lay up.
Gotta run them. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.